Hi everyone, this is Rich of the Rich Maxwell channel. Welcome back to my channel. Today doing a lens review and going to be talking about this interesting lens, the 18-105 f4 lens for Sony APSC E-mount cameras. So this is a lens that you might pick up if you have an A6000 or an A6400 or A6600. So any of the A series cameras or A6000 series cameras I should say. It'll also work on the full frame cameras such as the A7 Mark III or A7 II, but you're going to be in the crop mode then, which is going to lower your megapixels quite significantly, so it's not really a lens you'd probably want to consider for a full frame camera. But really interesting lens for the APS-C camera user, as it's such a wide focal length, going all the way from 18mm up to 105, so the equivalent to the full frame ranges there would be about 27mm up to about 150-160mm, so it enables you to really punch in really close to objects that are a bit further away, and also for wider landscape shots you can get some cool images and get nice wide perspective, so really useful focal range. And the lens, it's a bit different to many other lenses out there in that it has electronic zoom rather than a manual zoom lens. Now it does have the zoom ring on the lens, but it's also got this switch here to enable you to zoom in and out really smoothly, so that's really good in video mode when you want to do a little zooming in shot and have a constant speed to the zoom rather than when you'd manually zoom, and obviously it's difficult then to gauge it right and get that perfect sort of zoom in your image. So it's an interesting lens for that purpose, for video, and that's exactly what I bought it for. I've got my full frame Sony A7 II, which I use for photography, and then I've got the A6300, which I use more for my videography. So I picked up this lens because it's a really good price and so versatile with the massive focal range covered. And what's also really interesting with Sony cameras is you have the clear image zoom option. So that in effect doubles the focal length of a lens. So I'm not sure how well it works in photos, as it'll only work in JPEG mode, so I've not used it for photography, but for videography it can be great, as it enables you to zoom into twice that 105 focal range when you're shooting video, so that could be really cool to get very close to faraway subjects, and so it gives you that 210mm focal length, which equivalent full frame is over 300mm with a 1.5 crop. So yeah, that's really cool about it as well. I think clear image zoom doesn't actually lose any image quality. I'm not exactly certain how it works, but I think for 4K video it only really needs sort of like 12 megapixels. So the A6000 cameras, they're I think 24 megapixel cameras, so they usually for 4K would crop the sensor down further, or use the whole sensor and then kind of compress it down to a 4K video rather than what would be like maybe 6 or 8K at the full 24 megapixel. But when it uses the clear image zoom, it's probably just going to be using more of the sensor to not lose any image quality, so that's really great about it. And yeah, it's a relatively lightweight lens, even though it's a lot bigger than a lot of other A6000 lenses, so it is quite a hefty, beefy looking lens on your camera, but it's pretty lightweight, got a nice build quality to it, being all metal, I guess aluminium most likely, and the filter size is 72mm, which for me was very handy, as I already had a variable ND filter in the 72mm size from purchasing one previously for one of my other lenses, and I think it's a pretty common filter thread size, 72mm, so a lot of you people out there with other lenses and various filters, you might already have a 72mm, so that's really handy about it as well. So it really does seem like a nice sort of lens for all occasions that you can just leave on your camera if you're into videography, and then just get some great shots wherever you go. I've found it a really useful lens so far. It's yeah, just been pretty much glued to my A6300, which, as I say, use mainly just for video. And yeah, it's got me some great clips so far. So I'm going to take you over to my PC now, and then we're going to just go through images, some test images of this lens, like I do with all my reviews, where I just take a picture of a brick wall and we're going to check out the corner sharpness at various zoom ranges and various apertures, and then just see where it's most sharp. So over to my PC now then. So over to Lightroom now then, where I've got a little collection put together with some sample images that I've taken in my garden of a brick wall just to test the sharpness of this lens. So we're starting off at 18mm at f4, and you can see all the camera settings right there in the corner of the image. And then over here on this panel you can see whereabouts on the image I'm looking at. So in the center it's okay, a little bit soft there, 18mm f4, and then out towards the corner, as you can see, it is getting pretty soft out there. And that corner actually looks a bit better. And that corner soft again, and a little bit soft in that corner. So as we'd expect really in a zoom lens, at the extremes, 18mm or 105, it's probably going to be a bit softer. So I've got various apertures tested here, and as you can see, that's so that one was f4. Now here is f8. So we're going to develop mode, so we're not risking just showing a preview. So f8, 18mm. Actually looks pretty sharp there. So you can see the central sharpness is good. Here's the corner, top left corner. Pretty good. And a little bit soft in that top right corner. A little bit soft down there. So it might just be that my copy of the lens isn't perfectly calibrated. Obviously lenses do vary slightly in the copy that you get. Sometimes you just get lucky and you get a really sharp one all over. So tiny differences there. f13, we'd expect it to be pretty sharp now. Little soft in that corner still. That corner's pretty sharp. Center, nice and sharp. So that's 18mm, and then f22, we're losing a bit of sharpness there. That's its smallest aperture, so it's a little pin-sized aperture right now, and you can see there's some chromatic aberration in the corner there as well. Quite heavy actually, considering it's not the kind of image you'd expect to get a lot of chromatic aberration from. It's not the most contrasty. But yeah, on to 45mm now. So this is a more mid-range sort of zoom with this lens, and as we'd expect, it's pretty sharp. It looks pretty good. Really happy with that. Very nice usable image. f5.6. Center even sharper now, and the corners looking good, nice and sharp. So f5.6 at the mid-zoom focal lengths we're getting really good images from. And again, here is f9. So I'm not going to talk too much about every single aperture and every single zoom range. I'm just going to show you on the screen really, and then you can, if you want to, just pause it on YouTube to take a closer look at these images and see what you think to the sharpness. But overall, I think it looks pretty good there at 45mm at most of the apertures really. So it is f22, and you can see it is getting a bit softer there in the corners. But yeah, still usable. Even in the centre, we're losing a bit of sharpness there at f22. And here is 105. So 105, totally zoomed in, f4. So centre sharpness when we zoom in, it's not amazing. When we're zoomed out though, it looks like a perfectly usable image, so it's not that bad. The corners, yeah, like we'd expect, they are losing a bit of sharpness. And then at f5.6, it looks nice and sharp actually in the centre there, so that's good. Corners, losing a bit of sharpness, a bit softer there, as we'd expect again. As I say, at the extremes, zoom lenses do tend to lose their sharpness a bit, so it's not surprising really that that a lens like this at its price point would lose a bit of sharpness at the extremes of its zoom ranges. But it's nice that the centre of the images is pretty sharp on most of them. You can see there f18 is starting to lose that sharpness again, and it's f22 now. Its smallest aperture, a little bit soft there in the centre, but overall it's pretty nice usable image still. It's not bad at all. And then here's some just test shots in my garden where we're looking at the bokeh that you can get. Obviously this is an f4 lens, so it's not going to get the most amazing bokeh, and also on a crop censored camera, the f4 you have to multiply by the crop factor, something which a lot of people seem to forget. So really comparing this to full frame, this is f6 images rather than f4. So yeah, it's pretty decent sharpness. I mean, it's not amazing. It's not going to really sort of blow you away in terms of the sharpness at 105 or at 18mm. And the bokeh, like I said, it's okay. You can get nice bokeh at 105 if you're really zooming into things like these tree branches and flowers. Then at the wider end, the 18mm end, you're still getting a bit of blur in the background there when you're close up to a subject and you've got that separation. But yeah, it's not really the sort of lens that you'd expect to get that really sort of blurred out background, that full bokeh effect from. But overall, it's getting a lot of detail in the images. It's usable. I mean, it's not fantastic. It's not the most amazing photography lens, but perfectly going to be fine in video. Really, it's going to get you some nice video images for sure. So that's the sample images reviewed. Now back to the main camera. So overall, the 18-105 lens, I personally think it's a great lens to pick up for your APS-C Sony cameras. It's just so usable at having loads of different focal lengths. It's just a handy lens just to have on your camera at all times if you just want a one-for-all sort of lens solution. And certainly for video, it's quite the powerhouse of a lens with the power zoom. Makes it really cool for just getting that effect where you're zooming in on a subject. And the f4, it's obviously not the best aperture. You know, you're getting those f4. It's f4 throughout the zoom length, which is really handy again for videography, as it means that you won't have to adjust your exposure settings when you change your focal length and zoom in. So that's really good about it. And the image quality looks pretty good. It focuses well. I've got some little test shots here of the focusing right now, which show me just popping it in and out of camera, and we're seeing how fast it locks on and focuses on me. So as you can see, focus is great in video mode, in the AFC mode. So it's really picking me up nicely and locking into focus perfectly. So focusing is really quick on it, and wait, it's kind of what you'd expect from these Sony A6000 series cameras, though. They're fantastic in terms of focusing and getting an image really locked in good. So yeah, you're not going to have issues hopefully with focusing with this lens. You can use manual focus as well, as it has got the two rings on it. So that front ring is for the focusing, and then the back one I think was the zoom one. So yeah, you get the option to do manual focus as well. And the power zoom, it's probably not for everyone, but for video it's quite useful. As I said, it enables you just to get a really constant zoom rather than when you try and twist in a zoom ring and zooming in. So that's really good about it. So I picked up this lens for, I think it's £321. I got it on an Amazon warehouse deal. Usually it's about £450, I think, on a lot of different camera websites and Amazon. So at that price, at 400 quid, you're getting a lot of lens for the money. It's going to cover you for a wide range of situations. It's just going to be a nice upgrade on the kit lens. It's, I think, a bit sharper than the standard kit lens that you get with the A6000 series cameras. And it's, yeah, like I said, just much more versatile. Going to come in a lot more handy for photography and videography. So I hope this review has been useful for you guys. Please subscribe and give the video a like, and join me again soon for more videos. Bye for now.